Every morning when I go on my walk, I look at the neighbors' fences and I can see the point at which they're touching the ground and the fungus that is coming up from the ground into the fences. You can trace it from the people who've just built their new fences to the older fences here. You can see how they're starting to rot as the fungus goes and eats these things, these pieces of dead wood that human beings are trying to put up into the sky again. And the fungus wants to pull them back to the ground. My name is Phil Ross. I am the Chief Technology Officer and one of the co-founders of MycoWorks. MycoWorks is a technology company that produces fungal mycelium, which is a type of tissue that a mushroom makes, and we convert that into something that is a lot like animal leather. For designers, it's just like a brand new world of what you might do with skins that was never available before. You don't have to choose between sustainability and beauty. So we're not really that familiar with mycelium because it's usually hidden underground or inside of a log. It's the sort of like the invisible part of the mushroom. Their bodies don't really have a plan like we do. We just see this small, brief thing for a moment, but this is just this passing phase of the organism's body. It's just its sex organ, it's its means of reproducing. And then that disappears after that moment has passed. But the body continues on, but it's more of like a matrix that's existing and moving through the ground. It's moving through wood. It's moving through the world. It's not like moving around the world, it's moving through materials. And in its moving through materials, it's transforming the world into its own body. A big thing that has problemed the West is like to imagine our own autonomy within part of some larger collective, and like we still imagine the king in a lot of instances, or of like some singular body representing this whole, and in the colony it's just not clear. So I think we're searching for narratives of that are also, maybe not spiritual, not mystical, but have to do with something that's like in a greater alliance with it, or in understanding even. And again, I think like mushrooms do that. They bust up categories, so they seem to have an opening into part of the mystery that's still nature, and that's very exciting for people, that not everything has been explained. And these beings don't have bodies, their sex lives are really bizarre and over the top too, and just everything about their nature is challenging to a lot of our categories. Yes, we have our scientific binomial nomenclature and all of these kind of hierarchies to establish nature, but then I think it's a synthetic world. I think it's a lens that only lets in a teeny bit of light or a teeny bit of this other world. But I mean, so mushrooms now are letting us see this much larger world. They are the lens, so to speak, into this much broader thing, and we have to bring it into some type of synthetic abstraction that humans can understand. They seem to be decaying. They show their history of becoming. It's like and they seem kind of out of control as well. And so that's definitely something natural. And some of our clients really love that because it shows that this thing was alive. It has a reality to it that can't be contrived or can't be made up. So both of these are made by taking some ground up sawdust or other kind of agricultural waste and introducing a little bit of the mushroom culture. And then after a couple of weeks, it'll grow into something that looks like this. It solidifies from that aggregate into the solid form. But this is made from the same type of thing, but just allowed to express itself in a longer time span and under different conditions. But the same thing of just like maybe wood chips plus a little bit of mushroom culture. Between this, there's just so many aesthetic possibilities between this kind of smooth modernism to this strange, grotesque naturalism. We see this really as a third category. It's not animal skin, it's not a synthetic plastic, it's some other type of skin. And so I think it just opens up brand new design possibilities. So it's exciting, when people talk about a platform, I think that it really is a platform for designers to start to think about how to make new types of products that just don't exist at this point. This is a teeny little polypore, a mushroom that likes to eat wood. And you can see the mycelium and even the checkering, this kind of decay of the tree here. And then the root, the basal, like the base of the tree here was rotted away. And it took down this just gigantic monster of a tree. This was probably 400, 500-year-old tree. I mean, a young one in this neck of the woods. It's inevitable that this industry would happen because it is as low as you can go. And so that's sort of what I've based my life work on, is just like knowing that you can't do better than the fungus because they're just doing it any day, every day, all the time. And as long as the sun shines, there's gonna be plants on the earth, and as long as there's plants on the earth, there's gonna be fungus that are gonna be breaking them down. So it's like, for the long haul, it's a pretty good bet. I feel like it's like one of those science fiction things where you're saying like, you're talking about some alien and you're like, really, it's quite remarkable how efficient it is. It's sort of like this kind of thing where you're like, this thing could take down a 500-year-old tree that weighs, tens of tons. And like, I don't know, like who else could do that?